Hi, God. Great. How are you? Tell me.
I'm great. I'm great. So, we are right now having a live podcast, and all the listeners are listening to the conversation between two master trainers. Interesting?
Wonderful. Very interesting.
Sure. So, topics will be random. It will be basically more with regard to whatever things that you want to talk about, whatever
Mhm.
things that you have got connected with regard to your own journey of life, and whatever that I have got connected with regard to my own journey of life. Let's start with you.
So, thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure talking to you and getting to learn a lot from you.
Mm-hmm.
So, to say something about my journey as a trainer, a master trainer, I've been mainly in English language training.
Mm-hmm.
So, one thing leave or which usually we consider English as a foreign language, and I think that is somewhere that's something where the problem actually arises.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you actually think, or you are somebody who's an expert in sound, so I'm sure you would understand that when we talk about learning a language or acquiring a language, um, it's very important for us to understand what kind of connection we have with. And
Mm-hmm.
when we talk about English Indians, it has got two problems. One, the language is considered as a, you know, as a symbol of status, as a status symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, it is misunderstood as a foreign.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, people study it as EFL or foreign
Mm-hmm.
language, but
Mm-hmm.
honestly speaking, the kind of history that we of exposure that we have got, English, definitely it should not be considered. So I
Mm-hmm.
think this is something that I make people aware of, make our list. If you want to work communication skills or you want to develop English communication skills, it's important for you to understand that it's just a language. It should not be, connected to any social.
Mm-hmm.
Pressurize the learner more, considering in diffidence, the result would not be, good. One thing, and so yes, of course, this is something that I've been on for years now, and I think it's very embedded with personality. Not English as a social status more than it, of course,
Mm-hmm.
the kind of personality that one has about confidence. I think more than the problem of, uh, knowing how much they know the language, the problem is
Mm-hmm.
confidence speaking or not. So the first
Mm-hmm.
thing is speak in the language, so they would hardly understand how much they speak.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can keep going on terms
Mm-hmm.
about English communicative skills and
So, Anusha, I want to
yeah.
just try to divert your attention towards the fact that there are a lot of listeners who are listening to us right now who
Mhm.
would like to understand your perspective while you were learning English. How did you went through that journey, which can help them to create some
Mhm.
impact in their life with regard to their own ordeal
Okay.
of learning this language called English.
Mhm. Mhm. Uh, so uh, start. Well, the first thing definitely is when you are given that the kind of ambience that you are required to
Mm-hmm.
learn that
Mm-hmm.
the conditions are very favorable in terms of your it becomes easier. I have acquired the language instead of learning the language
Mm-hmm.
because it was more of in a convent. So of course the
Mm-hmm.
kind of had was absolutely English. Remember,
Mm-hmm.
our principal, our sister used to be so strict about people not talking in English, and I remember in the break, there used to be a long queue in front of the system. She would punish the students in the lunch in English. So we had to speak in English. And now when I look back to the kind of situation we were put into, I feel it was so kind of refraining those young little children from speaking their tongue. But yes,
Wow.
of course.
Wonderful perspective.
Yeah, so something which is very interesting, and I'm sure our listeners would be to it, is who speaks Hindi as one's first language at home is put into such an environment where one is in English. I remember I was 2, and I remember this very, very vividly. I was a very shy child when I was in school. I didn't speak much. I didn't have too many friends. So it is very, very clearly that my partner, she was pinched to me, and I didn't know pinch. So I just started crying, rolling down my cheeks, and the teacher saw me crying. Basically, I didn't want to be loud enough to teacher's attention or everybody's attention in the class. I just started sobbing, and the moment she saw me, she came to me and she asked, "What happened? What's wrong with you?" And she was Miss Rita, I remember. And the moment, when you're going through a pain about something, and the moment someone actually starts consoling you feel like crying even more, thinking after. So I started choking even more, started crying even louder. So she asked me once again, "Kya hua beta?" When she spoke my first language, wow, now I can express my emotions so well.
Beautiful.
That's the kind of we've got with our mother tongue, right? So my mother tongue at that moment, Hindi, seemed on my wounds. And I became a little courageous, and I said, "Ma'am, she's in Bihar and Jharkhand."
She's
cutting me, so in Hindi, in Bihar and Jharkhand, instead of chimatna, ya katna, right? So I said, "Ma'am, she's
chutiya,
okay."
Chuti
And yeah, she's cutie. And the whole class started laughing, started crying even louder because I was very embarrassed. I knew that what chutti cutting in English would mean. The teacher, when the whole started, so she was very sweet, and so she put her hand on my forehead and it's not chutti cutting, it is pinching. And everybody laughed that day, and because I was courageous enough to in that sentence, continuous. She that word pinching. That word. And English. I remember when we were in school, because we didn't know, right, all these critical verbs that we do not. So I remember people were saying, "Ma'am, she's dhakka maring me. Hey, why are you dhakka maring? Why are you dhakeling me?" And now I linguist myself, Gaurav, back at those young little children, and it's amazing that they don't know is the verbs, but most of the part of the sentences, see, the structure already is there. So even I, as a child, I knew that continuous tense or something which has happened, ing, right? That's how we learn language. But of course,
maring also has the ing.
Ing, right? Hey, why are you dhakeling me?
Dhakeling.
Well, it's beautiful. Now as a linguist, when I look back, most of the part of the sentence already is that the child isn't aware of that one particular word. So
And even being a voice coach, like your domain is more into the language. So you're talking about the language aspect and the syntax. And I was thinking about the tone, the inflection, the intonation. That when the person is saying, why are you dhakka maring me? So the why is going up in inflection,
right,
like an
of course,
interrogative
yes.
sentence and all. And why are you dhakka maring me? And at the end of the sentence coming down on inflection. So my head
Beautiful,
was going
yeah.
more towards that particular thing. I'm like, people are aware about this also by default. It's just that they
Absolutely.
understand the process, they understand the image,
Of course, yes.
they understand what exactly the verb will be doing in front of them. However, they don't know what the label is. Rest everything is
Absolutely.
completely bang on there. Wonderful.
Definitely. It's all inherent. It's all, it all comes very naturally. So that language learning has been, that's how I acquired English as language. Most of the time at school and is surrounded by that environment. I remember, when we were young kids, we were in Stand 1 and 2, we used to have these, these school pupil leader and so we used to have school pupil leader and ministers, sanitation minister.
Also. Yeah.
So these people would roam around in lunch. I tell you, in the lunch time, these people would roam around. That which child is
we
speaking
even used to
in
have those badges and all. Sports minister badge was there.
Yeah.
And people were like, oh, he's a sport. I used to be a sports minister, so I used to have a sports minister badge. And like, sir, can you make this period free? Can you make this period as a sports period? And like, so I used to have all the timetable. People used to come to me for the request of adding one more sports period.
Wow, wonderful.
I just remembered.
Yeah. So that's how it is, and but then of course, yes, when we talk about language acquisition, at the end of the day, it's skill. That's why we call it communication skills. Language, we require so many other skills, right? So after standard 5th, the same school, it became Hindi medium. So that shift again. And
so before we continue on this, I just want to do a quick paraphrasing for the listeners, because you are going in a story mode. You are an amazing storyteller. I just want to give them some tidbits. So as per Anusha, what she's trying to say is that we need to have the right environment, right ecosystem. Also, we need the right coaches right mentors who can actually do the right hand holding and scaffolding. Because when she is saying something and if people are mocking and if the teacher would have said something else, she would have never got the courage to learn, right? You got the right hand holding, right mentors.
Yeah.
Also one thing which I heard when you were mentioning, which I heard you say, was that if we are not able to speak in a certain manner, then there would be a punishment. So that's the carrot and stick approach which is there, which is also something on the lines of D.F. Skinner's and Herzberg's motivation and hygiene theory. There was one more point where you mentioned that you could not express yourself because you thought that because I don't know the words or the grammar, I will not express myself. I will try to contain myself inside. And as your mother tongue came, you started expressing yourself. So that is also a sense of control and a sense of freedom and a sense of sense of locking up inside the emotions that also a child transitions through because of a language barrier. Like, I just came back from watching KBC and Sehwag was mentioning that he used to request the commentators that please ask me questions only in Hindi. And that used to be, so there was a question that why so many Olympic athletes are withdrawing their names from the Olympics because of mental health. So he mentioned that used to be my mental health. Like, it used to affect me mentally a lot, that I can't speak in English very well, and that was some of the reason even when I'm scoring good and I'm hitting centuries and all, when I'm going there, they're asking me questions only in English. Later on, I had to deal with it, and I started understanding certain nuances, what they are saying, trying to pick up certain words, and then give them the answers back in a very subtle manner. So I feel that language barrier also it puts that barrier in front of a child
Of
to
course.
express their emotions in the right manner. So this is just a quick paraphrasing I just did. If there would be anything that I might have missed out, you can just add that also.
You have articulated beautifully, and of course, and I would just like to add that, of course, discipline
Mhm.
also
Discipline.
somewhere. If we are not, if we don't make something time bound or headstrong about doing something or making somebody do, then again, this might not be possible. When we talk about learning to some extent, yes, acquisition still might be easier because you are in that environment. But yes, then I think discipline also is very, very important.
And I believe there's one more point. Many people might have gone through that, but no one had that hunger or the fire in their belly like you had.
Absolutely.
That you were like, I
Right.
have to conquer this language. Like Shah Rukh Khan said that when at the time of his struggle, he looked in front of the ocean. He was there on the Marine Drive. Said that this city has given me a lot of troubles and a lot of tears. One day I'll conquer it. So having that hunger, having that fire in your belly, having that intention and a desire to conquer something. And this normally comes when you feel those strong emotions deep inside yourself. And there are very few and far between who actually go onto that journey. So I want to commend you on that from behalf of all the listeners who are there, all the people who are there, whom you train and all. That you went through that hard journey.
Much, Gaurav, but that wasn't it. I'll tell you. It started after standard 5th. Suddenly put into Hindi medium, and our books changed, and the language, everything changed, overnight.
Oh wow!
And so 5 years I was in that, and again another 5 years when you are, and you are very, very much ready to adapt to the sudden change, I would. So it was not easy at all. Most of my in their schools, and they went to DAV and other. But I had sure enough, or I was, like I said, I was very shy and very. I didn't even know that
this change happened, that you had to transition from an English medium school or a convent to a Hindi.
The school had this,
Acha, school had that.
Was. Okay. Yeah, the school had that, so we didn't have it. I was too naive, shy, even to kind of think that a possible option. Changing the school can be a possible option. The journey of learning the language, and maybe, I would say, I had gained. I would like to tell this to the listeners. At times, learning a particular skill might not be very difficult. But retaining whatever you have acquired and sticking to that, and then getting that is more challenging, I would say. So I after we kind of school, I remember by then most of my friends had gotten or they were not as fluent in English anymore to be in primary school. Because by now they talking in Hindi, and everybody would talk in Hindi. The teachers would communicate. From science, it was and then again mathematics. Everything was in Hindi. So most of my friends.
So the ambience it changed. The ecosystem it changed. That's what you're saying. Also the habit went away.
Not only habit. It's like when you are confined, all right, you didn't like those rules very much, right? Like I said that all these would roam around, they would eye on the people who would be talking in Hindi. They would to sister. So we didn't like the discipline, we hated it then, right? And then suddenly it was like we were free birds. We had mother tongue at school with 5 years of skill, emancipated. Everybody started enjoying communicating it
But I feel
as a
even
result.
while you were
Hmm.
conversing in Hindi, there would be certain words of English that might start coming out of your mouth, and it might anchor those emotions back to you. I should speak in English also. Did that happen to you?
Not really. I would say, well,
Mhm.
mine was altogether. I would say because I was absolutely in love with the language. I
Mhm.
feel I've got certain kind of connection
With
birth. I
English
would
or
say
Hindi?
with English.
With
I tell you, with
English.
English, I have been absolutely ever since my childhood. I can't tell you. And so,
Mhm.
friends, the people, and right now, even now, I'm connected with my school friends. The way they write English, at times I
Mhm.
feel only about their making all those spelling errors, and I mean, how
Grammar mistakes and
you
all,
come
yeah.
from the same, yeah, you come, and you are a convent product. Come on, to make such mistakes. I feel so strongly about rectifying them.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
somewhere kind of control
Then
myself, telling, oh, you can't do
why
it,
do you
everybody.
feel that there are certain people, even when they have come from the same school, they somehow falter, and there are certain people who don't
Ah,
falter? Is it because we allowed ourselves to indulge, to keep on indulging ourselves into
of course,
improving?
yes, of course. Like you said, there was a fire in the belly. I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
stick to it. I love the language. Whereas my friends, on one hand, my friends, they forgot even English. When I say forgot, not really forgot, but lost the fluency, the confidence of speaking in English, communicating well,
Mm-hmm.
and all those words.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, because I had this fire in my belly, I became equally good at Hindi, right? So
Yeah.
I'm as pratyutpanna matitva in Hindi as Ripati I am in English, I would say. So that's how it is. So yes, of course, yes. At the end of the day, whether you want to hold on. And I remember my first job.
हम भी तहे दिल से शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहते हैं आपका कि आपने अपना बहुमूल्य समय निकाला, और हम आपसे नतमस्तक होकर ये बात करना चाहते हैं कि आपने अपना ये समय निकाला ताकि आप हमसे ये परस्पर वार्तालाप कर सके. धन्यवाद.
क्या बात.
वंडरफुल.
बहुत ही अच्छी है.
बस आप ही का है जो प्रेजेंस है उससे अच्छा होता है. No, but I also feel, I was also thinking, Anusha, that maybe like when we go from school, definitely a large part of your lifetime you always you are there in school, and then you go for different colleges that are there, and there also the kind of people that you indulge with, the kind of environment, ecosystem, ambience that you get. And later on, even a person, when they become aware about their personality and the power of voice and power of communication, they even transition towards those jobs, those profiles, those roles. What do you have to talk about that? What do you have to say about that?
Absolutely, yes. So I completed my schooling. Remember, so it was like 5 years bird, and we enjoyed talking in our mother tongue. We restrictions, like we teacher giving us punishments for speaking in Hindi or choosing any. I remember the first job that I joined was right after I completed my standard in Wipro, and that was for a US process. So by then, what actually had happened, I also believe I'd like to listeners that when we talk about language learning, acquiring any language, mimicking does wonders. Not only in terms of learning, whether we talk about syntax of the language or semantics or morphology, vocabulary, what we say, also and modulation, all these things improvise, all these when you are into mimicking. I have
observed in my journey of learning this language called English, that for me, one thing which has been very helpful for me is the etymology of the words, because it helps me understand the origin and the root from where they are coming. Like today I was reading an article about rhetoric, rhetoric speech, rhetorical dialogues, and rhetoric. So rhetoric comes from a word called rhetor, and rhetor itself is a Greek word which means someone who is impeccable in their speech.
Right.
So a
right.
person who is impeccable in their speech, that speech that the rhetor speaks by default becomes a rhetoric. So it
That's
always
right.
makes me aware. Like I was reading about this word called communication. Like you mentioned, communication. Communication itself comes from a Latin phrase communicare, which means to share. So when you're sharing information with someone and they give you the right feedback, they understand that the information went from the source to the destination. That means you have sharing is caring. From there, the sharing and caring, it came together. Also, today I was reading a speech by John F. Kennedy, and I was reading a speech by Martin Luther King Jr. So they were using the nuances of alliteration, allusion, and different resonance. So the way they are anaphora, the way they are repeating a certain sound, the way they are saying something. Like John F. Kennedy was there in Berlin giving an address, and he was like, many people believe that you can work with communists. Let them come to Berlin. So at the end of every sentence, he was saying, let them come to Berlin, which means he's trying to rephrase that word in front of them by using that particular chunk. It's like anaphora. Even Martin Luther King said that I have a dream, which itself is a repetition. So repetition is also a device of rhetoric. It's a very powerful device. Then when he says, I have a dream, it's called omnitrium perfectum, which means in Latin, it means anything in three is perfect. When Julius Caesar first came and saw Rome, he said that I came, I saw, I conquered. So it's divided into three chunks. So I did an episode today on my podcast about the power of rhetoric. There I mentioned all these allusions and all these different how you use the power of pause. So I think this is also something very, very important and relevant and interesting when we have to go into that journey. What do you have to say about that?
Yes, undoubtedly. These are all, when we talk about rhetorical device, all kind of they beautify the language. About a language, see, I mean, everybody's we talk about, even when we look at Hindi as our mother tongue. Everybody speaks Hindi around us, but you would see every speaker is different than the other.
With regard to the dialect, with regard to the accent.
Absolutely, yes. The same feeling. Using a language. Why do we need a language? We need a language so that we can express our thoughts, ideas, our requirements, our needs, our emotions, right? Even if one is emoting one particular feeling, different people to emote one feeling, they might be using the same language, still they would differ in a lot of ways with each other. And it is subtleties and all these nuances that you're talking about. Yes, rhetorical devices, when we talk about, they are add-ons, they are jewels. Of course, yes, undoubtedly, very important. These things pointed out, etymology is something, if everybody starts on root words and the roots and from where the origin, thing like it. Most of the people, I when it comes about learning another, they struggle because they are not able to catch. Even if they learn those words, they are not able to read it. So if everybody starts understanding the importance of etymology, everybody understands where the word comes from, the derivation of the word. It's very, very easy for them to retain. So yeah.
And the best thing is that when you know that particular chunk, you can relate with different words. For example, ology itself means study of something. So psychology, sociology, anthropology. So many of my students, they used to always have the wrong pronunciation by calling it logy. So I told them it's not logic, because it's
Hmm.
itself is a root word called ology. From there they
Hmm.
started like correcting their pronunciation. So just by understanding the root word, you can correct your pronunciation by default. That is what I
Yes.
believe.
Now that you said, most of the students they mispronounce it and
Logy,
similar
yeah.
pronunciation. So
Yeah.
to rectify them, I would always remind them of Parle G.
Parle.
Want to pronounce? Yeah, if you want to pronounce, you remember Parle G? Say Parle G.
Parle-G.
By all.
By all. With respect, G.
By all. Yeah. So
Biology.
imagine as a
Okay.
person, I call G.
Biology. Oh, interesting. Interesting. It's a very unique way to train the Indian students per se. Very interesting.
Yeah.
What do you
Right.
think is the role of the phonetics? Because today I was training someone on phonetics and they were like, "Wow, sir, why the Indian education system does not have so much of like an inclination towards the sounds? Because we have the Hindi Varnmala, but the English Varnmala is never taught. Many people are not even aware about the short vowel sounds or the long vowel sounds. We directly go into the letters in the alphabets, the 26 letters sounds, and they always think that those 26 sounds are the actual sounds. Whereas the IPA has all those 44 sounds, which they are not even aware. They're not even aware what's the difference between the air sound and the air sound, or the schwa sound or the sound. So, what do you think? How the sounds carry an importance with regard to understanding a language, pronouncing a language, enunciating and articulating a language? What's your take on that?
Well, I disagree with you on this, Gaurav. I don't buy learning or Indian education system have phonemes in it. When we talk about all these Varnmala, Swar Varn or Vyanjan Varn, they are phonemes. They are, and if you see, it's like they're sounds that we use in Hindi, and that very interesting. Look at all these Swar Varns, Swar Varnas are Vyanjan Varnas are nothing but consonant sounds, and that they are arranged so beautifully, unlike English.
No. My question is, I feel I am not able to articulate my question in the right manner. What I'm trying to say is that the way, in such a wonderful manner, Hindi Varnmala is taught to us while teaching Hindi. We are never taught the English Varnmala or the English and the 44 sounds of English. We are never taught.
Sounds.
I was never taught those sounds. I was only taught those 26 alphabets. And I used to think all this time, before I came into training people on sounds, that there are actually only 26 English sounds, but there are those 44 sounds, which helped me to understand phonetics and understanding pronunciation in such a better manner. So that was my question.
So I got it now. The first part misunderstood. So yes, of course, and so I agree. Yes, when we were students, we weren't made. I think now, when we talk about Montessori
my question is, do you feel it is relevant, and do you feel that if somehow we can insert this particular base in the Indian education system for training in English?
I'm just talking on the same lines here.
So do you feel that it will create a larger impact than it is creating right now? I feel it will.
Yes.
I feel it will. I just want to know your opinion on this.
Of course, yes. But one to know is, when we were not made aware of these things, but it's been years when Montessori method was introduced system. In Montessori method, from the play school itself, they start studying phonics.
Yeah, but phonics and phonetics, it's very different.
I'll tell you why.
Because even I remember when I was in UKG, LKG, or whatever elementary, before coming into elementary, I don't feel that a child will be able to remember or retain or recall till the time they haven't experienced the words and then try to chunk it down. Rather, so what the traditional method does is they try to combine the sounds together. I believe that they should experience the words and then they should understand that you can chunk them further. That is what I believe.
So it's this way. See, in Indian languages, when we talk about Hindi, I can Hindi because that's our first language, my first language, your first language. Many of our listeners would be Hindi. So in Hindi, we have different sounds and different letters. Come across those swar varnas and varnas. We write what we speak, and we speak what we write. Have the difference in terms of sounds and letters there. If I I'll read it as cub. If Akar and Chandrabindu, I'll read it as or jug as jug. Unlike right? In English, it's a little complex because
it keeps changing with regard to the vowel sounds. Yeah.
In Hindi, we have exactly the same as we have in the letters, right? So the letters are read the way they are pronounced. So the letters are sound themselves there.
Exactly.
Are you getting my point? But in English, letters are different, and that is what makes it a
little bit difficult.
It's one of the reasons I believe that in school and when the children are too young, about English as second language or English as the other language, or we call them as ESL, EFL. So it's difficult for learners of the other language it that way. So introducing it away to the children language as their first language, and that is why they start with phonics, and then later on, when the words they start pronouncing the word, it all happens very inherently.
Just to give them that taste of sounds. Okay.
Yeah. So that is one of the reasons I would say why it's schools, and it would be difficult for at school to catch hold of it suddenly. So even it's difficult. I would say it's difficult. Don't you think so? Telling them that we have 6 alphabets, but we produce 44 those 26 alphabets. It definitely is to understand that C, where does C become K, Ch, Ch, and how do we decide?
CHEF is called a chef instead of chef.
Right. So see, we got in English, we've got one letter, many words, one letter, many sounds, and so many letters. We use when we talk about letters. Chauffeur, it becomes sh. Becomes ch. In cup, it becomes sir.
Yeah.
So this is many sounds. Likewise, when we talk about one sound, for now sh is produced with sh. The same sh can be produced only by s only by sugar. Yes, of course.
Like in TION becomes
chauffeur?
a nation.
Absolutely.
Chauffeur,
Chauffeur or champagne you talk about. So how
champagne,
exactly, how do you make a child understand complexity?
Even like a chandelier. Chandelier is with the ch.
Right. Correct. So so that's where I think that's a big hindrance, and that used to children at school, because it certainly would be very but yes, of course, at a later stage. So I would say a language, the first and the most important thing is the more you're exposed to that language, the more you listen to that language, you're listening to music in that language, you
Mm-hmm.
listening to English of a
Yeah.
particular English songs, and then you gradually start understanding words. And I know many who might not be very good at speaking that particular language, but they can
Yeah.
sing songs in that language, right?
Yeah.
Really,
Even
I
I
think music.
remember you mentioned that how we use the power of music even in poetry. When like the last time when you were
Certainly,
mentioning about the iambic pentameters that Shakespeare used
that's
to
right.
use, when you made me aware about the John Donne's poetry, you want to talk a bit about
Right.
that?
Um, when we talk about learning a language, we can learn a language with a lot of, we can get a lot of help from literature. When we
Mm-hmm.
can be prose, it can be with the help of music also. Music,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of musicality. When we talk about musicality inherent in that again, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
theatrics, they use a lot of
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
Was very
Theatricals, yeah.
yeah, use it there. So
I think
of
even
course, yes,
opera itself is a singing English
part of
language only. Part of its
course.
singing
Right,
opera.
right. It theaters plus music. So of course, yes. And then when you talk coach, when your is talking about sounds and voice,
Mm-hmm.
so of course, yes. Or the moment we talk about language, we talk about musicality.
Mm-hmm.
Language has got its own music.
Wonderful.
Yes, it's by getting exposed to all these things, all literature, you get better at understanding. And at the end of the day, the more you willing to learn, the more you get into it. So that's
Beautiful.
how it works.
So these are some wonderful insights from you, Anusha, and I can feel that the listeners are all getting elevated and they're getting enthralled with regard to this immense information that, because it's nothing but a reflection of the experience that you have indulged yourself into. So they have all converted into those great learnings that you're using. So I wanted to like ask you, there must have been a lot of ordeals, of obstacles that you have faced in your own journey, and you must have also reflected on a lot of obstacles that your students face. So have you like
Mm-hmm.
tried to understand, tried to like create a kind of an average, like these are certain major obstacles that people always
Mm-hmm.
face while they're going on
Yeah,
this
of course.
journey of learning this language?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Environment, the ecosystem, that's
Mm-hmm.
most important factor. And just going to school and getting that ambience there, the moment you come back home, you find people about you're talking in Hindi, I think, in English.
Mm.
I think that's one thing
Even
that most of the
they
listeners
mock
would.
us like you're talking,
Of course, yes,
you're trying to.
of course, yes, yeah,
Many people
definitely,
even think that we are trying to make a fool out of them. We are trying
right,
to make them feel belittled, or we're trying to make them feel a bit down
absolutely, yes,
in front of us, as if because we are trying to speak that language. However, our intention
yes.
is nothing of that sort. It's just that it turns out that
So,
perspective. Then, excuse me.
so,
Yeah,
so you also resonate with it, Gaurav.
yeah. I've gone through
But
that.
I think everybody who loves, who wants to, definitely has gone days. Uh, yes, it's ironical and very paradoxical at the same time to get better at English, but
Mhm.
the person getting better at it.
Exactly, the crap culture is there.
Yeah, so I somebody who's been absolutely and madly in love with my childhood. I remember, we are four siblings. My brothers, they were we are two sisters, and my brothers were very fond of WWE and all these
Mhm.
action channel and what was that movie, star movies, right? So they would English movies and all these Ripley's,
Star
these
World and
action.
all, yeah.
And we girls, was the time when we got this new colored
I think
TV at
AXN and the HBO used to come. Yeah, I remember.
movies. So they were very fond of it, and that was the time. And we got this new colored TV at home, and we were TV culture. Okay, so
Oh yeah,
and
sitcoms and all.
one remote at home, yeah. Magic part of the story was one remote control and 4 fighters over it. so we would want to watch some movie, or we would like to listen to all those album songs. That was the time when while we were growing up, all these
VH1 and MTV used to be the wage. Yeah.
Yeah. Falguni Pathak songs and all these songs would come. The girls would want to watch those songs and dance on those numbers, but at the same time our brothers would all these action shows. So what I would do, I would stand in front of the TV and I would mimic.
Oh,
and I never
interesting.
knew that big time. I remember this, Gaurav, when, please believe it or not, so we would have a fight who's going to watch what channel, and others they are more united. We would fight very frequently, so we don't have that else, but they would always win because they are more like Ram and so they had that unanimous decision, and they would on us. Finally they would win, and they would decide it would be okay. They would watch this show. So what I would do is I would in the angst of losing against them, I would stand in front of the TV, exactly mimic the way the speaker would be doing. We always used to say this, so go away, we'll be right back after a short break, so keep on watching it or not. And they would just get irate, they would get irritated, frustrated, they would shout, go away. I would go stand in front of the mirror and I would make my face, I would use all my jaw muscles to articulate it exactly the way the speaker would do. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go away, we'll be right back after. Keep on watching it, please believe it or not. And I remember went my first job in Wipro, and after clearing about 6 rounds, 7th round was the HR round, and I was so excited towards having this accent in my style, language. So the moment I need to introduce myself, I said, hello, my name is Anusha. I've completed my graduation in English literature. And he asked me, Anusha, have you ever been abroad? I was like, abroad? No. This to me. She said, you've got this accent in your voice. You got this accent. I said, all right. Maybe because I've graduated in English honors. So a lot of students who have done their graduation in English, but they speak this way. And I tell you, that was the first time. And I didn't know what the hell the word meant. Have that, I was like, okay, of course I know what accent is. So the first thing
you were trying to bluff your way through the interview. Interesting.
Yeah. So I was like, I know English. So
I know what accent is.
Of course, yes. I know what it is.
Do you think that I'm not aware? Seriously, you think that?
Certainly, yes. So the moment she said, you're this, like, wow, I have accent. I didn't know about that. So the first thing I did was I went back home and I checked the meaning of the word accent. And I was like, okay, I speak in a... So it all... And then I was like, think what made me this. And then... And it was like, ladies and gentlemen, don't go away. Like that.
Yeah.
Keep on watching it. Please believe it or not.
There's a wonderful insight that is coming, which I want to share with our listeners, is that if you want to speak a certain language, you have to listen to that more, right?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. that's very important. So of course, when we talk about music and mimicking, I believe is a wonderful learning a language, and that's exactly also, and Bangla. So I've learned a couple of I've done it just by listening and just feel of a particular speaker or an orator. I'm very of.
Actually,
So yes,
I'm talking about this thing because an incident happened with me where I was there in my Mamaji's house once, and I was watching a show. I think I was watching a movie. I think it was Pursuit of Happiness, and
wonderful movie.
there was that famous interview scene where he comes wearing all those informal clothes, and then they are trying to gauge whether he should be considered for an interview, and the way Will Smith is trying to influence them to take him. So I was very keenly listening to him, and I was all of a sudden I saw that in my vicinity, my Mamaji was standing. He's like, "Can you understand what he's saying?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I'm watching it." And then he looked at me with a very strange look, as if I'm trying to bluff, and then he goes away. That created a thought inside me that maybe because he himself might have not experienced that he's not able to understand that, he's trying to have that thinking, because an experience propagates into a thought, and when you keep on reflecting on that thought, it becomes a belief. So I was thinking that maybe it's his belief that we actually can't understand what they are saying, and I was like, this is a very interesting insight. What do you have to talk? What do you have to say about this?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. Reminds me of a similar incident that happened with me. In fact, we were talking about before getting into mimicking and all these things. We actually people being envy. Who's better at English, right? So I remember my mommy passing a comment, because I was very fond of the language. I wanted to accent. I wanted to speak in a particular manner. I wanted flaunt my English, and I want and definitely then at that time when I was in high school, it was adverse because everything around me was happening in Hindi. To stick on to whatever I had learned, I was kind of headstrong about and beautifying it even more. So I would always speak, even when I would go back, get back, something would fall, I would say, instead of telling Bap, goodness, oh my God. People would think that she's just showing off, not being herself. Whereas it was difficult for people around me to accept me that way, because Jharkhand, so they speak in a particular accent and style. Difficult for them to accept me that way, thinking that how can she, she comes from our clan and our. So, but then that's how I was. So this that it's strange that everybody wants to work on English and everybody wants to speak better English.
That's the irony. That's actually the irony. Everyone wants to work on that, but when they see that someone is actually working on that, they're speaking, they feel that we are trying to make them feel little in front of us. However, that is not what our intention is.
Inferiority complex, inferiority complex somewhere. So yes, that's how it is.
These are some of the obstacles that we are talking about. One is definitely society, how they portray with regard to the Indian students, also not getting the environment where they can speak. Because definitely all this time, all these different apps that are there, they always keep propagating this one particular thought that you have to have a native speaker to speak. How much do you connect with this thing? And I have seen that many of the native speakers, when they speak, the Indian students are not able to understand what exactly they are saying. And till the time you can't understand, how can you even try to mimic what the person is saying? Because they use a lot of linkage, they use a lot of contractions. I don't know what to try and say, and then the person won't be able to understand what he just said, because they're doing those linkages and all. They are doing those different wall transitions, those linguistic wall transitions from different accents. Someone is speaking in American accent, someone is speaking in British accent, and even you are aware that in Britain also, every place that is there's a different accent. The Cockney London accent is very different from the Liverpool accent. So how much do you connect with that? Because I believe Indian English in itself, if you understand the sounds, you use the sounds, the right pronunciation, that can also help the Indian students. What is your take on this?
I would say that, of course, yes. We don't have English nowadays. We've got Englishes, right? Even
Englishes.
deciding on which English, so even deciding on is quite. I would say is nowadays no one particular accent. Nobody wants to acquire a particular accent. Everybody's working on neutral.
Even nowadays,
Everybody
we're going
wants-
for neutralization. Exactly. Yeah. We're
Absolutely.
going for neutralization.
Even back then, I'm talking about 2004 when I was working with. We were working on neutralization of accent. We would not. I had a different phrase, American accent, so I would roll my R's and all of those, but to work on neutral accent, and we would
And what used to be the impact of your customers, because they used to be American or they used to be UK or Australian. I don't think they think too much about the accents or even the pronunciation.
Not at all.
I think it's an Indian mindset.
Absolutely, yes. It is Indian mindset. Nobody bothered able to communicate well. In fact, they're appreciative of the fact that, right,
we are
coming from
to
a different
speak,
culture. Yes. And nowadays, Indian English itself is a variant.
Yeah, exactly.
If you open Word or Microsoft, Excel, you would find an option called Indian English there.
Yeah, even when I use the pronunciation Oxford Dictionary on Google, they give you three options. Yes. One is British, one is American, one is Indian English.
Right. So it's an accepted, and nobody bothers that much. All you need to do is, so what our listeners is, and what I usually tell my students, challenge. We know that ecosystem matters a lot. Have people around you who are not very supportive and appreciative learning the language. What you can do is, I tell them that instead of using language, if you don't have that support system, chunks, phrases, expressions,
like idioms and metaphors, like transition and linking words.
Transition, linking words, chunking, idioms is see people when we watch nowadays, or even in Tollywood movies, you would know that the actors there, they are using expressions while using Hindi, right?
Yeah, they are doing that.
Phrases, expressions, right? So I always ask the students that you might not be very speaking the language completely in the other language, but what you can do is you can make a phrase or an expression a part. If somebody visits my friend, I would say, hey, how are you? Have a seat, bato. So, kya loge? Would you like to have some tea? Chai lao ya coffee? So, you can use the phrases while you're using the language, or while you're using any other language. The moment you go to market and you want to buy something, instead of telling kya price hai, you can say this. So kya hai price iska? That you're telling in Hindi. You can
different variations that you can use. Yeah.
Right. So confidence also, that's how you'll connect with it. I always say that it's very important in order
when I started working in the corporates, I used to use a lot of idioms, because normally like when you are emailing someone, your team is there, you always tell them, keep me in the loop, come back to me, do the needful for your information. These are a bit of idioms, some corporate idioms that we use. Also, once in a blue moon, pull up your socks, get the ball rolling.
Right. So, but then I would say, Gaurav, of course, yes. I think I would say that we are privileged if we get that ambience where we can make use of all these idioms, but not.
Exactly.
So it's always a good idea to start with chunks and collocations. So I would say chunking is very, very important.
Collocations are very powerful. Yeah, collocations are extremely powerful.
I would say chunking. So I would like to tell to this. Chunking is nothing. Chunk is basically a collection that come together. For example, when I say, how the moment we meet somebody, we say, hey, hi, how are you? We don't have to think that R would come
Yeah.
after how.
That's a
We
chunk.
use
Yeah.
it as a
Reported speech
ready-made
chunk. Yeah.
expression. It is a ready-made expression, right?
Exactly.
Similarly, if somebody calls you and you're supposed to meet, and you ask the other person, hey, or somebody calls, supposed to go and to meet the person, and the person asks, hey, how are you? Where are you? Where have you reached? And you say, I'm on my way.
Yeah.
The moment you say, I'm
Exactly.
on my way, that's. So I always tell this to my learners that, we have ready-made clothes now, we have ready-made food, and
Expressions.
everything
We
is
have
so
ready-made
readily
expressions.
available. Yeah, tailor-made expressions, all these tailor-made and
Yeah.
ready-made. So you can have your chunks, you can have your collection
I
of words.
think 70 to 80% of your language you can do by these ready-made expressions only. You don't need
Absolutely.
too much of a vocabulary or
Not,
intonation or something on those lines, pronunciation
not,
on that, or idioms or metaphors for that matter. 70-80% you can
yeah,
manage just using these particular. Yeah.
of
So
course, yes,
this is one major tip that we can leave for the listeners, right?
definitely. A lot of learners who ask me, and they are still with this thought that just because you can't speak English or you can't speak any other language, when I ask them in my induction that what do you think, why you're not able to speak good English, or fluently, they say, I think because I'm not good at grammar, number one, because I don't have enough words, I'm not good at vocabulary, I don't have enough vocabulary. So both these things are, all preconceived notions, not true. Number one, we don't need a speaking a language at all, I would say. That's first language. We never learn grammar first and then we learn the language.
Even if I say give phone me, it means give me the phone.
Yeah, forget about that, Gaurav. Forget about that.
Yeah.
You give me a sentence in Hindi, please.
मुझे एक
Any
sentence दो
sentence,
हिंदी में.
बहुत अच्छी बात है. अब इसको आप ग्रामर में कन्वर्ट करें. आप बता ग्रामर के किस पार्ट का है? Would you be able to that in our first language?
Exactly.
Any sense trying it out in the language?
Exactly. I get your point.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's notion, I would say. That's the first preconceived and wrong notion. What they say is vocabulary. So I would like to tell this to our listeners here. We've got somewhat about 7,000 some hundred words, and it's
you can't
they keep
on.
No, what I'm so I'll explain what we've got. Some 7,07,000 some hundred. Keep on adding about hundreds of words every year. In order to speak the language, all we need to have is 1,000 to 1,500 words. 7,07,000 some hundred words.
Wow. So we
most
have
of the words that
available.
Tentatively, I can tell you what those 1,500, but I can give you estimate of what those words are. So you have to learn all those words. Why? Because most of those words are obsolete words.
Are synonyms only. Most of them are synonyms only.
Yeah, so most of them are synonyms. Most of them are jargons. Most of them
I remember just by mentioning this thing synonym, I remembered an incident from my office life, my first job, where I actually saw my manager looking at the email very intently, which he was supposed to send to the CEO. So I'm like, sir, what are you doing? He's like, you can see these words like problem. I'm like, yes, sir. He's like, everyone knows problem, na? And CEO will be like, he should get a new word. I'm like, then sir, what are we supposed to do? He's like, just right click here, then you'll go to synonym, then the word comes conundrum. So let's add conundrum. Okay. So he was doing that.
How people are fan about vocabulary in Indian culture, I tell you.
So I'm like, sir, even
People
if the CEO,
are
so
crazy.
I told him, so Anusha, I told him that even if the CEO is reading that as conundrum problem, it still remains a problem. I think the CEO is more concerned about how we can give them a solution for the problem. And he's like,
Wonderful.
you go and work. I'll give you some something. Okay, sir.
That's how crazy about learning and collecting vocabulary. That's the craze of vocabulary. But what these 1500 words are, and then out of these 1500 words, I tell you, most of the words people are aware of. What is it that we don't know? क्या हमें subjects में I, you, we and नाम होता है? क्या हमें नहीं पता कि सोने को sleep बोलते, पीने को drink बोलते हैं? When we talk about verbs, we talk about noun, about objects. Most of the words we already are aware of. We might not be aware of a few of those verbs which we don't, like that young little child out there chutti cutting instead of pinching, right?
But they are aware like what they are trying to portray. It's just that they don't have that chunk with them right now.
Right. The structure, and the words I, you, we, he, she, go, drinks, dance, sing. Even in, I tell you, even in where the children are being raised native speakers of the language, that's how they learn with they learn with listening, and I tell you, they make such mistakes out there. Even in English speaking countries, they're not regular verbs. So what they do is, a child would I goed there instead of telling I went there. Are you aware of this?
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
This is how they learn there.
Even I remember my dad used to tell me that one of his professor, he used to carry a very fat book of only verbs. So he's like, I'll only train you in the different styles of verbs, like the first participle, the second participle, the third participle, the past, the present, the future. He is only training them in that. He's like, even if you do this, it will create a lot of impact in your life. And I remember my dad has an amazing English, amazing grammar.
But I'm so glad to tell this to our listeners, draw their attention towards it, that Gaurav doesn't seem to be very good at telling first participle, second participle, third participle, like first participle, second participle, third participle. But this, you are amazing at English, Gaurav. So, a great live example for our listeners.
I'm not that great in grammar. Don't come to me for grammar training.
Great live example out here that you don't have to learn grammar.
Even my dad has been all his life, he has been trying to make me learn tenses. I don't give a damn about tenses.
Tenses actually make you tense.
I used to get very tensed when I used to learn tenses. Now I don't give a damn about them, because by default I understand how the logic of the sentence is sounding. And if that logic is correct, I know that I'm on the right path.
So I would like to tell this to you. If you want to learn tenses it would only make you. But when you start speaking sentences, tenses already are a part of those sentences, so you don't have to learn them separately.
Because I believe I should kiss it, keep it short and simple, rather than kill it, keep it long and lingering.
Well, that sounds like
this is something that you taught me, and I remember it. Yeah, this is very interesting.
Yeah.
So before we end this discussion, and I just want to mention that Anusha, it was wonderful talking to you, and there was so many insights that we discussed about. Amazing things, insights that we have discussed about literature, about movies, about the journey of English, of vocabulary, intonations, and theatricals and all. I just wanted to literature and all. So I just wanted to ask you, what are some tips and tricks that we can leave for the listeners, that they can actually like create an impact in their life by using it, because we believe in skills. We are trainers, we are coaches, we are mentors. We believe in skill training. So
Yeah.
I want to understand, what is that skill that they should be doing? What are those tips and tricks that they can practice every day, which can help them on this journey for them?
I'm not going to be giving does.
Mhm.
I would
Something, any tip and trick, whatever that you have used
yeah,
to
allow me to
improve, to
complete it.
better your journey.
Yeah. I would only and only our listeners, to fall in love with English.
Beautiful.
Okay. Now, when I say fall in love, that means think about the language. Think only about the language.
And think
The
only in that
language
language. Even think only in that language, because many of the Indian students, what they do is they always try to
translate, right?
translate from their native language into English, which is called transliteration. Yeah.
Say fall in love with the language. It's only by falling in love with the language you can only when you connect with the language, you will learn the language, or the language will say. It's like when we fall in love, our listeners would would be able to relate to it. In love, or I'm sure you're watching all these movies and you've seen how the moment you fall in love, you only think about that.
Beautiful.
So you only have to
think
about
the analogy. I love the analogy. Wonderful.
About the language, you have to listen to the person more and more, right? So you have to listen to the more you feel for the language. You have to talk to the language, right? So what you have to do is you have to make a very strong connection with the language. You start dreaming in the language. You have learned the language, and you can in the language until you have connected with the language. You know, when you are in real love, only then you dream about the person. It's the only tip I would like to give this to my learners.
This is a very powerful tip. Very powerful tip. So the quick tip for the listeners, for the learners, is that even before you think about making your boyfriend or your girlfriend or falling in love, first fall in love with English language. Think of it as your boyfriend, think of it as your girlfriend, think of it as your husband, your wife, or whatever that is there. Just feel that connection, fall in love with English.
Right.
So on this note, let's sign off. And I just want to mention, Anusha, it was a pleasure, and it's always a pleasure talking to you, because talking to an experiential learner, you always bring such amazing things to the table, such amazing insights, such amazing experiences that people can reflect and learn from. It's commendable on another level altogether. And thank you so much for taking out your precious time and having this one-to-one conversation. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. And we had an amazing conversation. And I very strongly feel that all the listeners and all the people who will be going through the podcast, they will get a huge insights from it, which can create a lot of impact in their life.
Great to hear that. It's to you, Gaurav, and the feeling is mutual. I also get
thank you so much
listening to you. So thank you so much for inviting me once again.
Thank you so much.
Have a great evening ahead.
You also. Have a good one, and thank you so much for coming. And I'll take your leave now. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.